Going social scripter, how can I help you?
Hey, this is with. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. I'm not sure if my name's ringing a bell for you, is it?
Yeah, I've received a LinkedIn message from you.
Yep, that's it. Well, I just wanted to follow up with you and see if maybe it would make sense for us to get a couple minutes on each other's calendars so I could learn more about you and your business.
Yeah, I've looked at PEOs before. We're not big enough for it to make sense.
Okay. How many employees do you guys have?
Not enough.
No problem. Is that something that you think you would reevaluate at any point in the future?
I understand the model and I know how it all works.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, if or when we get there, yeah, I'd be open to it.
Okay. So I don't want to bug you too many times. Would you be okay if I reach out to you maybe in 6 months?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
That's okay. Are you sure?
I mean, probably 1 year would probably make more sense, but
Okay.
you can reach out in 6 months if you want.
Yeah, I'll check in with you, just kind of see how you're going, how the year's moving along, and then I don't expect you to ever do anything when I call. I just like to keep in touch with people, and then when the year comes, you'll know where to find me.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you, Michael, and I hope you have a great weekend.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Okay, so a really good cold call there to reflect back on. Let's quickly take a look at what went well, what could have gone better, and then we will wrap up with a recommended cold call script that could be used for this particular salesperson. Let's start with the introduction. She opens the call by asking, I'm not sure if my name is ringing a bell for you, is it? And this is a bit of a risky thing to ask at the beginning of a cold call. Anytime you ask a prospect if they've heard your voicemail, if they know who you are, if they know who your company is, if they've read your email, a very likely outcome is that they don't know you or they don't remember you. And if that is their response, it creates a very bumpy, awkward opening for the call. So it's a bit risky. Now, in her case, it actually worked really nicely and opened up a friendly dialogue. And the reason why is because I did remember her, and it's because she sent me a voice message on LinkedIn. Let's take a look at that.
Hey Michael, good morning. Here. Got an unusual question for you. We're seeing that a lot of businesses are experiencing difficulties around return to work after COVID. Was just wondering how you're handling getting ready for work, requirements, or even HR. I'm happy to share what others are doing, but first I wanted to see if this is something you'd be open to exploring. No worries if not, I'll shoot you an email too.
Okay, so before we actually dive into the cold call, let's just summarize and talk about that LinkedIn voice message. I think that what she did here is a great multi-touch approach. What she did is she sent me this LinkedIn voice message. About 30 to 45 minutes after this message, she sent a cold email to my business email inbox. And then a few days later, she called me. And yes, when I answered her call, when she said her first name, I remembered her. The reason why I remembered her is because I actually listened to this LinkedIn voice message. And using a tool like this, whether it's a LinkedIn voice message or video email, is a great way to differentiate yourself from all the other salespeople. I get cold emails every day on LinkedIn and I delete them pretty quickly. When I get a video email or a voice message, I feel more obligation to click on it and listen to it because it looks like something that was recorded specifically for me. So this is why I paid more attention to it. And when you use tools like this, you increase the odds of your message getting heard when you use more innovative tools like this. So this is a great tool to use. I'd recommend doing this, and this is exactly why I remembered her. If we actually look at the message she used on her LinkedIn voice message, I think it's pretty good. There's probably room for improvement, but her message is a consultative approach, more around, I want to learn about you and talk about you, and that definitely is going in the right direction. Now let's get back to the cold call, and we'll talk about how to tweak and improve her consultative message. So she starts out the call talking about the purpose of the call is to learn more about me and my business. Again, this is definitely a consultative positive approach. And this is definitely in a good direction. It's better than product selling. The product selling salesperson is going to be all about, this is what I sell. Do you need what I sell? She's all about me. That is great. Learn more about you and your business. The only cautionary thing I would say to this is that when you're prospecting, most likely you're dealing with business owners, decision makers, managers. Those people are always extremely busy. And what you're looking for is you're looking for a little bit of their time. And you don't want it to sound like they're going to spend their valuable time educating you. That will not be attractive to them and is not a great way for you to sell the appointment and the conversation. Those are some of the main critiques. Let me actually just wrap up real quickly by talking about a few objections that I gave her, and then we'll flow right into the recommended cold call script. So the objection I gave her was, we are not big enough. And she responded this in a pretty good way. Her response was basically to ask a question. I think when you run into objections, the best place to go with your response is to just ask a question and keep the conversation going. And maybe the answer that you get might give you a reason to go in a new direction, get away from the objection. What she asks here is, how many employees do you have? Because I said we don't have enough employees. And this is what I would consider to be a current state question. It's a good question. The only thing that I would maybe add to this question is to talk about down the road. Okay, you don't have enough employees today. What are your projections? Where are you going? Where do you see things down the road? She did transition to looking down the road and saying, is this something you would reevaluate in the future? That's a great direction to go. And she actually does get to that with her next question, which is, can I check back in with you? I don't want to bug you too many times. Is it okay if I reach out in 6 months? She sensed a little bit hesitation on my response, and she actually handled this in a really nice way. I kind of liked it. She did somewhat of a takeaway when I said, yeah, it's okay. She said, or is it not? And she challenged my response. And what she did there, she did a takeaway and she got more information out of me, which is where I said a year would be better. So she's getting more information. And at that point, it was up to her. She could have said, okay, I'll call you back in a year. She stayed with 6 months, and I kind of like the way that she did this. She said, I'll check in with you anyways in 6 months. I don't expect you to do anything when we talk. And the thing that I really like about what she's doing here is that you have to remember you're selling the conversation. The fact that the prospect doesn't need what you have at the particular time that you want to meet with them, or they don't have budget, or they're already using someone, those are not valid reasons to not meet. Those are valid reasons to not purchase from you, and that's fair. But you should be trying to sell the conversation and not necessarily sell the product. And so what she's doing here is she's basically saying, that's fine. If a year is closer to him being ready to purchase, that's fine. I'm going to check back in with you in 6 months. I'm not saying that you have to purchase in 6 months, but let's talk then, sync up and see where you're at. And she said that in her own words, and that was really good. All right, so those are my only critiques. Overall, a really good call and a really good way to use LinkedIn to use a multi-touch approach and use innovative tools to establish the connection and get engaged. Now let's talk about how we could tweak her message to have a better cold call script. We can start with what we call building blocks, and these are the individual things that she should talk about. And if we build these, then we can mix and match them to create her call script and her cold emails and whatnot. The first place that I start is trying to create a value points building block. And so we help businesses to decrease time, headaches dealing with payroll, HR, decrease HR payroll costs, minimize errors, mistakes, improve compliance. So those are the benefits that she has to offer. Once you have those value points, a really nice trick here is that you could take each improvement that you make, and there's usually an opposite pain point that improvement makes go away. So if you have 4 really good improvements that your product or service delivers, you should come up with 4 inversely correlated pain points. And so with those 4 points, I was able to come up with these pain points. It can be a hassle, headache, and complicated. Dealing with payroll, HR can be time consuming, expensive, easy to make mistakes, difficult to stay compliant. Those are pain points. From those pain points, we can create 4 corresponding pain questions that ask if that pain exists. So how much of a hassle or headache is it? How much of a priority is it to decrease time and costs in payroll and HR? How concerned are you about making mistakes? How much of a priority is compliance or minimizing fines and lawsuits for you? So those are good pain questions. There's another category of questions that you should ask, which are current state questions. Question that she asked, how many employees do you have? That is an example of a current state question. If you sold cars, current state questions would be, do you have a car today? What year is it? What model is it? How well is it running? How many family members do you have that you're having to drive around? What do you use your car for? How much do you typically drive in a year? Those are current state questions. Here are some current state questions for her. Like I said, how many employees do you have? have? Where are your projections for employee growth? Are you currently doing payroll in-house outsource? Do you provide health coverage? How many employees do you have working internally on HR and payroll? Those are good questions to ask. At some point, you do need to talk about your product. So I'm with Company X, and so these are some details about the product. You could share a name drop. We actually worked with a business similar to yours. We took over management of their employees and HR and benefits. This helped them to not only decrease time, headaches, and costs, but also helped to improve compliance. So there's a customer example. Those are individual building blocks, and you can use all of that to not only create a call script, but to create your cold emails and LinkedIn voice messages as well, voicemail messages. Let me show you what that looks like, putting it together into a call script. Here's an intro. Hello, Maria. This is Michael calling with Company XYZ. Have I caught you in the middle of anything? Great. Well, the reason for my call is we help businesses to, and here's where you share a few benefits. That's the reason why you call. Basically share your value prop. And then after you share your benefits, you can do a soft little takeaway. But I don't know if you're a fit with what we provide, so I was calling with a question or two. If I could ask you real quick, ask a couple pain questions, or you may want to ask a couple current state questions. Hopefully in your pain questions and current state questions, you identify that something is not working great or just working okay, and you can use that as a justification for talking more and close for a conversation or setting an appointment. If you don't uncover that there's room for improvement, you could share some pain point examples with them in terms of like, this is what I'm looking for. Are any of these going on? So you could say something like, oh, okay, well, sounds like you guys are doing pretty good over there. When we work with other small businesses, they often have concerns about, and you could share a few pain points. Are you concerned about any of those? Again, hopefully at this point you find out that there's a reason to talk, and then you could transition to talk more about you just a little bit right before you go for the close, and you could transition with something like, oh, well, based on what you've said so far, it probably would make sense for us to talk in more detail because, as I mentioned, I'm with Company XYZ and we provide HR payroll outsourcing, and this is where you share a few details about what you sell. Some ways we're different are we do this and we do that. And then right before you go for the close, share a customer example to, this can do a couple powerful things in just a few sentences. It's going to help you to explain more clearly what you do or what you sell. It's going to help you to build a little bit more interest, and it's going to help you to establish credibility, and then you go for the close. And the close is not to close your product, it's to close for the next step in the process, which is to simply have a conversation. But I've called you out of the blue. I'm not sure if this is the best time to talk about this. Are you available for a brief 15-20 minute meeting where I can share some examples of how we've helped other small businesses too, and then you share a couple of your improvements that you make? Are you available Tuesday or Thursday morning? Or are you available to continue talking about this now? I can send over a Zoom link. We can chat a little bit more right now if you're free. And so that is a recommended cold call script that she could have used when she was talking to me and for her sales efforts. Like I said, all of those building blocks could have also been used to create her emails, voicemails, and whatnot. So that's pretty much it. If this video gives you any idea of how to improve your cold call script, that's great. If you want to return the favor, you could simply like, comment, share on this video, or subscribe to our channel. Any of those will help us tremendous. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions on any of that or want to learn more about SalesScripter or the Smart Sales System, just go to salescripter.com. Hope this was helpful, and we'll see you on the next video.